You did go to Toby? How was it? No, perfect. You got much?
They're pulling state.
Please join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Davis.
Here.
Councilman Mike.
Here.
Here.
Councilman John Parkhurst.
Here.
Councilman Jerry Slee.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum. We'll move forward. Approval of the agenda. I have one change on the agenda and we have a special event permit and Joe Elder is not gonna be here, so we'll table that again. Does anybody else have any questions or want to change the agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the one amendment?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to approval of the minutes from the March 18th meeting. Are there any corrections or additions need to be made there? I have a motion to approve the minutes from the March 18th meeting, 2025.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to approval of the bills and transmittals. We have deposits in the amount of $348,359.41. Accounts payable in the amount of $144,863.82. Transmittals in the amount of $20,091.10, and payroll in the amount of $47,362.15. Any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve the financials as read?
I'll make the motion to approve the bills.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on. Do we have any correspondence tonight?
No, sir.
No correspondence. We'll move on to items from the public. And we have Candy Moulton here tonight. Thank you.
handouts.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I could have had these collated, but I didn't.
What forgive you?
So, I'm here on behalf of the Carbon County 250 Committee. And what we are is an official committee appointed by the Carbon County Commissioners in February to help plan and celebrate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, which is next year, 2026. And I think I got the job because I can say semi-quincentennial, which is what that is. So our committee includes myself as the chair, and then we have Tim Nicholas, who's the museum director in encampment, Tom Mensick, who is the museum director for the Carbon County Museum, Angie Hobbs, who is both a councilwoman and a museum director in Elk Mountain, and Leila Evans, who is the museum director in Savory or in Bags. So that's who our committee is. And what we've done so far is we've developed a strategic plan, and we've come up with a project and a plan for a celebration for next year's semi-quincentennial. So for our project, which is really why I'm here to beg for some money. We want to tell the story of Carbon County and its place in the American story. So we want to do that through development of a documentary film. We're looking at a 28-minute film, which would be a suitable length if we can. Our goal is to get it on PBS and to also take it to film festivals so that we can promote Carbon County in that way. We want to tell the story, and we're titling the film Journeys to 250 because we all understand that we all got here somehow. And the first people who were here were Native Americans who came into our area. They followed the rivers, they followed the trails. They were followed by mountain men who were followed by surveyors, who were followed by railroad workers, who were followed by people who built highways. And so that's how we're all here. And then we really want to bring this to the present and even the future. Why do people still come and why should they come? So we wanted to be able to tell that whole story. It's a pretty ambitious project, quite honestly, in 28 minutes. We will not be able to tell every story, but we certainly can hit the highlights. So we expect that the entire project for the film is going to be right around $80,000. We've already requested a grant from the state. They have a state 250 task force, and they have made some funding available that was available only to county committees. And so we've requested our share of that, which is a kind of measly $10,000, but it's a start. We are also requesting funding from other organizations within the county. And we're going to all of the communities to see if you will help support us, not only for the film, but also for the celebration that we want to do. And the film will be part of the celebration because our intent is to show it in every community in our county. It may be in a school gym, it may be in a community center, it may be in a theater. It doesn't really matter. We just want to make it accessible to everyone. So that's the main thing I'm here for, is to ask for some funding to help us with that. I've in my letter, you can see that I've asked for at least $1,000 from the town of Saratoga. If you can do more, of course, we'll take it. We understand that budgets are tight and it's hard to do that. I will say, though, that our project can be funded kind of if you need to in spurts. If you have any money laying around that's left over this year, we'll take some of that. If you don't, which I understand we're getting to our budget, you may not. We'd like to be in next year's budget. And if absolute worst case scenario, because our project goes through the end of 2026, we could come back next year and be in your next year fiscal budget, not the upcoming one. Also, I want to tell you in the newsletter that I handed out, we want to keep everyone informed about what we're doing. So we are creating this newsletter. It's done by Tom Mennick over at the County Museum. He's been preparing this for us, and it will come out at least monthly. It's primarily digital. I made you guys special copies. So, but it's primarily digital because honestly, we don't want to go to the cost to print things that just get thrown in the trash. So deliver that to you electronically when we can. It will keep everybody informed as to what's going on. The other key things are there is a state grant program right now that is funding through the 250 task force, the state 250 task force. And it is for money that can be distributed to NGOs, non-government organizations. So 501c3s can apply for the funding, and communities such as yourself can also apply for that funding. The grants are taken every month, kind of on a rolling basis, through the end of December. So if you guys want to come up with a project that might be a Saratoga project that you want to undertake, if you want to form a committee locally, you could do that to do some of the work for you. Some of the ideas for projects that the state has sent out are, you know, if you have signs or notifications around in the community that you'd like to upgrade or improve or even add. I would say in Saratoga, a really nice interpretive sign about the hot springs and the importance of the hot springs could be a really good project. Those grants are $2,500 minimum, $25,000 maximum. They're pretty easy to do. I mean, they're really not that hard to write. The state has made it fairly simple. The one caveat is you do have to have, the county proclamation, which I have, and I can give to any organization or entity that's going to apply. And you have to have a letter from our committee saying that we have seen your grant. We have to see your grant. And then we have to say, we've seen it and we're passing it on. That's a requirement of the governor. He wants the county committees to be aware of things that are going on in their counties. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. The information about the grant is on here on the back where it says community and NGO grants. So that's all the information. That's where you go to find out about it. They take those grants. Their meetings are the second Monday of every month. If you turn in a grant application by the second Monday, like of April would be the 14th. If you had a grant in by then, you would know by the second Monday in May. So, and our county committee has already applied for the county grant. We've already had 3 other organizations in the county that applied in the first, it only opened in March and we had 3 in there. So we're kind of ahead of some other counties. We know that, and we kind of like to stay ahead of them. So if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them. And otherwise, really would appreciate your consideration for our funding request.
Question?
No.
I contacted the attorney today and we can support stuff like this. It's under statute 15-1-111 and we are legal to give them money. I have a question. Would you want money up front, or would you like us just to pay something as you go along?
The way everything we do is run through the county attorney or the county treasurer. So we don't have any money and we never will. That's not the way we're set up. We're set up as a committee of the county commissioners. Our county 250 project will be a line item in the county budget. Is how they're going to do it. So any funding that anyone gives to us is money. It goes to the county. It specified project and the county handles it. I will tell you that we are planning to film, if we get some money in hand, that we have enough that we can be certain we're going to be able to go forward. We are planning to film. We have to film this summer if we're going to have it done next summer, right? So we have no choice. So having some money early is good, because when we sign a contract for the production, we'll have to have a little down payment for that. This county grant that we applied for, the 10,000, we will probably use it for that, but
How much money do you think you need to raise?
our total budget right now is 120,000. So, yeah, we need to raise it. I'm confident we can. We have some entities in the county that have some resources, And we're, like I say, we're going wherever we can. We have $120,000 budget and we already have pledges of over about 35,000 in kind work, so. Yeah. Anyway, we want to have a great celebration for Carbon County, and I really hope you do something here in Saratoga. You guys have the perfect timing because you do your Saratoga Days and Platte Valley Arts Council's the 4th of July. We're going to do the county celebration the 10th of July. We picked Statehood Day, it happens to be a Friday. And then we know that the other communities are going to probably fall in line after that. So Saratoga very well could be the lead for the county, just by the nature of you always do something the 4th of July here, parade, et cetera. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Candy.
I'll be in touch. We'll let you know.
Thank you.
You want to discuss this tonight? Any of it? I don't have a problem myself. I think it's a good idea. I just need to sit and talk to that lady first.
You talk to that
make
lady
sure.
and then we'll discuss it.
What's
See
that?
what's available
Yeah,
and then we'll discuss it. Cause I think I definitely would be interested in supporting it. See what's
well,
available first.
I'll get with her. Maybe we can plan on tabling it till the next meeting at the earliest and come up with. We may have to do it in 2 rounds. We may have to wait till next year's budget. You know, which is not far off if you stop and think about it, but we could see where the budget lies. There's different places. Ideas for GL codes for you from Kylie. She sent over the statute, so. I think we can come up with something.
Yeah.
Thanks, Candy.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to Jocelyn Miller with school district number 2.
Sorry, I'm a little slow getting up.
Well, thank you for your time tonight. I'm with Carbon County School District 2, and we are looking to do a summer foods program in Saratoga this year. The school sponsors it, and it is free for all children from 1 to 18, whether they're in the school district, whether they're just visiting. And what we're looking for is a couple of places where we can have mobile sites. So the meals are just going to be in bags for the kids to take home. They don't have to eat on site, but we want to reach the kids. So we were hoping to have a drop-off point at Kathy Globe Park and at Vets Island. The other place we're looking up at is the mobile home park, but being a private entity, we're going to reach out to them that way. But tonight what I'm looking for is if that would be something that you would allow us to do. If we'd have school employees there dropping off the food. And basically, we were hoping to do Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, or if that's not feasible with all the things that the town has going on, then Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we're just in the starting up point, so I'm just trying to get everything put together. But do you guys have any questions?
I don't know. I don't.
Is this through the summer?
It would be from July 1st to when school starts.
Okay.
I'd see no problem with it.
Now,
Do you have any, chief?
No, I have no problem with that.
does it fall under any type of permitting we gotta give them? It's not really a vendor. I mean, they're giving it away.
selling.
Not selling it.
That would be the only thing. I don't see an issue with it.
I don't either.
It's just disbursement point. They're not actually selling it or making it there, so. I
Yeah,
don't think there'd be any permitting issues.
I don't think so either. Well, I'll call for a motion. Go ahead and approve this.
I would make the motion to go ahead and approve it, move forward with it.
I have a motion on the table to approve Carbon County School District number 2, their summer food program from July 1st until school starts. For various locations around Saratoga, Kathy Globe Park, the Trailer Court, and Veterans Island. And if you need other places, just let us know.
Okay.
I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah.
okay, we'll move on to, massage therapy regulations and please come up. You say your name, Shandine?
Sean Dean,
Shandi,
Yeah.
okay.
Sean Dean Talker, thank you for allowing me to come in here today. So I've been a massage therapist for 23 years here in Saratoga. I'm employed at Red Sage Spa. On average, I provide 15 to 20 massages a week. My clientele ranges from ranchers, teachers, housewives, peace officers, singers, tourists. I absolutely love my job and my career, and I love being able to bring my expertise to this town and providing massage therapy, relaxation, and healing. Because of this love that I have for my profession, my love of the community, I feel very strongly that some regulations and requirements need to be in place. This not only protects our massage therapy professionals, but also individuals seeking massage therapy. Wyoming is only one of 4 states out of 50 to have no regulations and requirements whatsoever. The other 3 states are Minnesota, Vermont, and Kansas. For the past 23 years that I've lived in this community and provided massage therapy, there's been a bill presented at state level and it's been presented repeatedly over the years, but it hasn't passed because of wording and pushback by uncertified therapists. So it's unfortunately not gone through, and because of nothing being implemented at state levels, cities and towns throughout Wyoming have taken it upon themselves to set up their own regulations and requirements for massage therapy. So that's what brings me here today, and I'm requesting that this council please consider setting up some regulations and requirements for massage therapy here in Saratoga. The AMTA, or the American Massage Therapy Association, has tons of information about dealing with certification for massage therapy. And it's considered a trade, as you well know, and a trade that requires schooling to protect yourselves and the consumer. Most trades are based on hours in class and clinical or hands-on training. Accredited programs for massage therapy range from 500 to 1,000 hours. This is only schooling to provide massage, and so that's considered certification. Certification can't be confused with licensure, because licensure takes place upon completion and getting your certification, and then you can get licensed. And what that allows you to do is to practice in many, many states, most nationwide, require a licensure and certification, but then some states just require certification. We, however, don't require anything. Licensure, let's see, it's a national test that you take after that, like I just said. It requires you to have 650 hours of certification time in your trade. So we have individuals in our community who are providing massage without ever going through any accredited massage therapy program. So I'm requesting that the council consider implementing regulations and requirements for massage therapy, because it'll provide peace of mind to our community members as well as tourists. And it'll also provide a level of safety and protection for all involved, including business owners, massage therapists, and their clientele. There is currently spa business owners in our community who only hire massage therapists. My concern is the private sole proprietors. They're going unchecked and unvetted. And I would like to see our community have a standard, as I believe most people who seek out a massage therapist expect or assume that massage therapy is ran by a massage therapist that has been to an accredited school. That, however, is not the case. So we need a standard of proficiency and competency for our community, so that no matter where someone goes or who they choose for their massage therapy, there's no question that they'll receive a competent treatment. So this is the proposed requirements I put together. And it's just kind of a basis to give you guys an idea coming from my profession. Mhm. And so the proposed requirements would be 1, to require each therapist to have completed a minimum of a 500-hour certification program. And they will need to show documentation of accredited school to prevent fake diplomas. This will show competence and proficiency. So if you're a spa, that documentation would just be shown to the spa owner or manager. But this would be required by a sole proprietor in a home or storefront. So in order to get a business license, because that's what they would need to provide to get after that. And so the licensure would be for the business license would be for the sole proprietor, either in home or storefront. This license would be granted after certification approval. If you're working for a spa, then that would be under their own business license. Malpractice insurance would be required as a sole proprietor working in your home or a storefront. So that would protect not only the person working, but also their clientele. So if something happened, that would be covered. And I looked into it. It's not super expensive. So for somebody like me, if I was going to practice on my own in my home or get my own little storefront, it'd run around $100, $150 for $1 million of coverage. So let's see. So if you're working for a spa, like I work at Red Sage, so I'm covered under Brenda's malpractice insurance. She covers all of us gals in the salon and spa there. So other certifications can be used as a blanket. So you're only permitted to work within your scope of practice and what you hold certification in. For example, if you do Reiki, cranial sacral therapy, acupressure, reflexology, that doesn't warrant massage therapy. Those are different things. So if you go to school, go to an accredited school like I went to, you get a wide variety of things that you get certified in. And some of these things on here are that, but also you can go and just get certification in just that alone. And some people think that that blankets it and you can just do massage therapy, but you can't. So I think you need to be able to practice within your scope of practice. And so that kind of covers the next couple bullet points that are there. When going to a massage therapy school, massage therapists receive other training and modalities. So like I just said, so I feel like you need to just work with what you have certification in. So if you don't have certification in massage therapy, then you need to go to school and get certified in massage therapy. I realize that there's people out there with a natural inclination towards body work, and that is amazing. However, there's so much more to massage therapy than rubbing the body. You need to know your anatomy and how your techniques are affecting muscles, tissues, and underlying structures. You need to know your contraindicators to provide services and when to not provide services, and when to stop therapy and refer them to a doctor. You need to know and have knowledge of medical problems, allergies, and what to do and what not to do, what products to use and what products not to use, knowledge of proper draping techniques to maintain the modesty of your clientele. If massage therapy is something that you want to do and enjoy it, then I feel you need to take the proper steps. Start with an education from an accredited school, and it's imperative. It speaks to a level of dedication to this profession, and it will help you provide the best knowledge-based services to all the people who live in this community and this town. So I know that sometimes, definitely, I know you guys, none of you guys are massage therapists, so I know that sometimes that sounds kind of like a big task of looking up to see if people are accredited or not, have gone to an accredited school. I would be willing to help out just to help if that ever needs to be, if this ever becomes a thing and somebody needs to be vetted, checked out, and make sure that they went to an accredited school. I would totally be willing to spend my free time and do that, just to make sure that we know that everybody in our community has been looked into.
Do they break down each license? I mean, you said you can go get a certain,
So, so
do they get a certificate?
yes, they do. So if I went and got certified in just cranial sacral therapy, I would have a certificate for that. If I went and got certified in just reflexology, I would have a certificate for that. But having those individual certificates don't cover the whole thing of being, that means that you understand the feet, or you understand cranial sacral has to do with the bones in the head and the spine. So that means that you understand how to do that, but that doesn't mean that you can just give a full body massage. So I talked to a lot of certified massage therapists here in town, pretty much all of them, and they all sign this. And this is just so that you guys can see that other certified massage therapists in town agree. They agree that there needs to be some kind of regulation and rules set up so that everybody's all on the same page.
And these signatures are all people with 500 hours or more?
Yes, that have all been to accredited schools.
Why do you feel like the legislation keeps failing at state level?
It's because their wording that they're putting into it, there's a lot, since we are a state where you don't require anything. You could start doing massage tomorrow if you wanted to and get paid as much as I do for it. So, it's because of the wording in there, and there's a lot of people that have, at the time, and probably still now, because I haven't looked at it like, in the last year, but, have been doing massage for a long, long time, and they learned from somebody, and so they don't want to have to go back to school after being in practice for 20 years. But for me, the way that I look at it is if you've done it for 20 years, you should probably know pretty well what you're dealing with. And so I think that on a state level, that they should have a test, just like you would go and take for your national licensure, because that test is going to ask you about anatomy, physiology, pathology. It's going to ask you about different techniques. It's going to ask you about when to provide therapy, when not to provide therapy. It's going to ask you questions about pregnancy and different essential oils that you shouldn't be using, which also falls into contraindications. So I think that they should have to take a test. If they should have a time limit, like let's just say 10 years. If you've been in business over 10 years and you've never been to school, then come take this test. And if you pass this test, then you can practice massage. Because that shows me that you have the amount of knowledge that you need to be able to do that. If you're less than 10 years, then you have to go to school. Period, end. And if you don't like it, sorry, but everybody else goes to school for their trades, You hear people, I have heard people that have said to me, like, hey, well, my mom did this for 50 years. Well, my dad was a lawyer and my mom's a nurse, but that doesn't mean that I can go and work at a hospital as a nurse or that I can be a lawyer and represent people. I still have to go to school if I want to do that. So I think that, that you need to have some kind of accreditation. I think that we're a community where we get tourism, and I just don't think people come into this community going, I wonder how many people are certified. They just assume because they're in one of those 50 states, with the exception of the 4, that have rules and regulations. And so they don't look at that and assume. But I mean, if you don't know what you're doing, you can hurt somebody. And if this is what you want to do with your career, you should really take the time to learn the most that you can and be the best that you can at your job. That's just how I feel about it. Any other questions for me?
You can look at the bill online. It was proposed, I think the first time was 2022 was when the first bill was proposed to the legislation. That it has not gained much momentum since.
Yeah.
I was looking at it today.
Yeah, there was one that was in when we moved here back in 2003 that they were trying to get it passed, but they just couldn't get the wording. They couldn't get it, they couldn't get anything right.
Okay.
So,
Are there any other towns that have regulations you're aware of?
yes. I know Laramie does. I know Cheyenne does. I know Jackson does. Evanston was looking at it. I'm not quite sure if they totally did or not. I know that Gillette and Sheridan had some things in the works to get their, so like the bigger towns and stuff are coming and doing stuff. And maybe if there's more towns in Wyoming that are actually putting together their own type of regulations, maybe that would help the bill go through on a state level as well.
Probably wouldn't hurt to look at it, I
I'd
don't
be
think, because it does seem like there's a
I'd
lot.
be interested to see what the other towns, what the verbiage in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you ever seen their guidelines?
I haven't looked at that, no.
Okay, we can find them.
Enforcement would be,
I think,
enforcement would be where the issue would.
yeah, I think more of it is just checking to see if you're accredited. And so working here in town,
I know that I'm not sure what it's called now. What is it?
Saratoga Resort.
Yeah, that.
It's always the end.
Yeah, that's what I call it. I know that they only hire certified massage therapists now because it's too hard to try and get somebody training. But why I said 500 hours is because there are places where you can go for a weekend and you learn some basics of massage. I still think you need to understand the anatomy and what you're doing to a body. I think you need to have a good knowledge of what you're doing. And so the only way to do that is to go to a school where you're going to get all of that and learn all of that. And it's not just this weekend thing where you go and learn how to give a basic massage, but yet you don't really know what you're applying or why you're doing it. So I think that checking that and just making sure that the diplomas that they're bringing in are legit. And then saying, you know, if you are working from your home or you're working on your own little storefront, that you have to have a business license. And in order to get that business license, you got to show me that you can do that. If, you know, if we all have to have business licenses and I have to have a license even within the salon that I'm working in for what I have, for what I provide there, then why does somebody that doesn't?
Yeah.
The business licenses go through the state.
Well, for us, our business, what we have is like a private contractor's license. So Brenda has her business license for the spa, but on top of that, I have to have like a private, working for her, I have to have a private contractor's license that I get through the Board of Cosmetology. And I get that for my nails, but I also have to have my massage certificate posted, and it's in my massage room on the wall. So anybody could go in there and see when I went to school, how long my schooling was, and what I'm certified in. But like I was saying, if it is something that, you know, you think would be difficult trying to figure out who went to what school and how that was, I would definitely be willing to help with that portion of it, is just checking into it and making sure that somebody actually went to school. I'd totally be up for helping out with that.
Okay, well, let us look into some
Yeah.
other aspects. We'll table this for right now. We'll look into what other towns have in place,
For sure.
you know, even though
Yeah.
we're smaller than the ones you mentioned, but see what we can come up with, discuss it amongst ourselves. Go from there.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you listening.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Shawnee.
Okay, we'll move on to any council comments tonight. Okay, we'll move on to reports from departments, town hall. The only thing we have under town hall tonight is, we need to put in an emergency manager. Tyler Christian was our last emergency manager. I've never appointed one since then. But, I talked with John, and I would like to appoint Chief John Moore as the Saratoga Emergency Manager. So if we had a crisis, and he worked with Lenny Lehman over the power outage, and so I would like to go ahead and appoint him tonight, but I need council's approval.
I'd make the motion to appoint John as the emergency response guy.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'd second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. No raise.
Congratulations.
Other duties as assigned.
You get the title though.
Anything else before the town hall business? Okay, we'll move on to the police department.
Mr. Mayor, council. Last 2 weeks, we've had 147 law calls. Nothing too extravagant this past couple of weeks. Had a couple camping violations, regular animal at large type stuff. Biggest thing I have is the quote from Plus Electric. I did make 3 calls. One place didn't call me back at all. Another one said he'd break away and give me a quote if he could. That was 8 days ago. I haven't seen or heard from him. Tim from Plus Electric came down, gave us a quote, was initially just looking at adding certain areas of town hall onto the generator that we already have. Since everything is set up we've got like 6 different breaker boxes in this building. So it's gonna be more expensive trying to pull and track everything down than actually just hooking the entire building up to the generator that we have. We already have a 200 amp service coming off the generator. We have a 200 amp service coming into this building. So what this quote is for comes to $14,800. And what that'll be is changing where the electrical from the generator comes in on the building. It's actually gonna wrap all the way around to the north end of the building. Come in where Carbon Power's power supply comes in at. They'll be replacing our 50 amp breaker switch that's automatic for the generator with the 100 amp, 200 and 200 amp automatic switch that would be required to run the entire building off the generator.
Questions?
And no, I don't have all the money in my budget, but speaking with the mayor, we're gonna break it up since it's for all the town hall over different budgets.
Yeah. And
I have about a third of it.
spoke with the treasurer, in which it needs to be broke up. But this will be probably the command center for any emergency except a flood. And then we'll have to move. But after visiting with the clerk or the treasurer, excuse me, we probably need to table this until next budget. If his budget's tight, our budget's tight, and we don't, we still have 3 more months to go. But this is something that definitely needs to be done. We need to pursue it forward. Prices may go up a little bit, but
I think the biggest cost is gonna be the wire, copper wire is the most expensive thing going around right now.
I mean, we can go ahead with having them go ahead and do it, but just not at this time. After visiting with everybody. So,
Did he say how long this quote is for?
No, that's what I was reading through. I thought it was 30 days, but that's just payment is required within 30 days invoice. So I'll get a hold of them and see.
see if the
if they can give
quote
us a
can
time frame
extend,
on this quote.
but, and that'll give us a little time, to work, see where everybody's lying. I mean,
We might get more quotes that come in later.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, it is something we need, I think.
Yeah, we need to get that fixed, because how many lights do we have working? When it,
The only lights was dispatch itself, so 2. Oh, and the outside lights work, but that was it.
yeah,
I'm not sure how they chose what they wired, but. Because according to my breaker panel for the generator, it's supposed to be the entire squad room and all that, but it's not on there.
that's definitely something we gotta look into, so I would suggest, if the council's in favor of tabling this.
Yeah.
For a little bit, where we can look at the books a little closer.
Yeah.
See, since we're coming up on the end of the year. And possibly another quote would come in. In favor. We're gonna table that for tonight, John.
Okay, in this quote is included changing over the plugs for the 911 system to 15 amp to 20 amp plugs, so we can use the UPS backup systems for that. It's just included in the total. I'd like to still go ahead with getting that done. It should be only like $500. But then we can at least plug in the UPS backups for the 911 system, because the system that's in there now for UPS backup gives us 7 minutes. Is all.
Okay. Okay, we'll do it this way. Do I have a motion to go ahead and table this quote? But move forward with the
Just the one out.
electrical work within PD for the 911 system.
I'll make the motion to table it for now and go ahead and look forward, looking and pick it up later.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
I don't see that one being.
Yeah, we need-
To change out those outlets is all that's gonna be,
yeah,
so.
yeah, we need to get that fixed.
We're still looking for the faucet down here that you turn on and money comes out.
Aren't we all?
Well, we haven't
I haven't
found.
found it at my house either. That's all I got. Any questions for anybody?
I don't think so.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
Okay, we'll move on. The fire department, the only thing we'll bring up on that, I talked with the chief today, he had nothing to report. We did have a fire district meeting. Come to an agreement on how the contract needs to be wrote, and it's now within the hands of the attorney. So we'll, That's all I have to report on the fire department. We'll move on to the recreation department. Mr. Carter.
Evening.
Evening, Carter. How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing well.
Okay, first thing I have is a quote for a little swimmer training platform that'll be utilized for swim lessons. It's our steps at the pool aren't wide enough to fit at a maximum of 6 kids on it. So this will be geared more towards the younger kids that are going to be taking swim lessons.
Okay. And that's gonna be a must for,
Swim lessons, yeah.
is it? Okay, well. Looks like we got plenty of swim lessons, so.
Indeed.
Council got any questions on this? Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve Carter in purchasing this? A little swimmer training platform?
I'll make a motion to go ahead and purchase it.
The little swimmer
Yeah. Little
platform.
swimmer.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
The amount is $1,206. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll move on.
Okay, next thing I have is for the pool schedule for this upcoming. Just the approval of it, right?
You want approval of it tonight?
Yes.
I have a question. All the closing times in the evening are at 6 p.m.
Yeah, and that's not to say that like we've talked about offering a night swim here and there. We just haven't done anything.
And the only reason I bring this up is, a lot of families may want to go out in the evening and swim as a family. When both parents work, and if we close at 6 p.m., some people are just getting home from work. So I think that really needs to be considered.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion? The council want to go ahead and approve this swim schedule with updates to be posted for later hours.
I'd make the motion to approve this schedule with updates coming, closure end of it.
We have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, then I have next, 2 of them will be transfers. One was Maggie Elder was our cleaning janitorial person last summer at the rec department, and Jillian Jordan is currently an open gym supervisor, and they are looking to be lifeguards this summer at the pool. It's not, I wouldn't consider it a new hire, of just, I guess, a transfer.
More or less a lateral transfer.
Yes,
Would that be a pay increase for them?
no.
No.
It would be the same, because their recent pay increase would be the same for them as open gym.
For a
persons.
lifeguard? Is there anything in the personnel, in the policy manual about lateral moving?
It has to be a new hire paperwork has to be filled out since it's a job position change.
Okay,
Which doesn't mean that they can't have to be done with their other one. We just need the paperwork showing.
so if they go back, then we'll have to do it again.
No, as long
No.
as they have the paperwork on both ends, we're
Okay.
good.
It's because those 2 are just initial transfers over there.
Okay.
New hires over.
How's that gonna affect you over there for staffing?
It won't be bad. I'm losing 2 of them, Amy Anderson and Jill Jordan, but I still have 3 open gym supervisors.
And they weren't at the pool last year.
What's that? Who wasn't at the pool last year?
The 2 that were transferred.
Tammy was, but Maggie and Jillian weren't.
So only the 2 we gotta
Yeah.
do.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and allow, Chelsea Little and Jill,
Josie Little's next.
oh. Excuse me. To move over to the pool? It's Julian Jordan and Maggie Elder?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Julian Jordan and Maggie Elder to move over to the pool as lifeguards, which we'll have to train, correct?
Correct.
Move over to the pool as lifeguards, lateral move, but they still have to fill out new hire paper.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to allow the lateral move of Julian Jordan and Maggie Elder. Do I have a second?
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Okay, and then Josie Little, she's didn't work at the pool last year. She worked there the previous 2 years. We'd like to hire her again at the new $15 an hour rate, and she will only need to get recertified, so not a full certification, because she's had been certified prior.
as what? Do I have a motion to go ahead and hire Chelsea Little as a lifeguard pending her recertification?
I'll make the motion to hire pending her certification.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Okay. We're almost done. Did you want to come up here for this?
we stand next to you, Bert?
Yes, absolutely.
We need a little backup, do we?
Well.
No, it's all good.
So as you know, we're doing a lot of work on the pool, planning to paint it, planning to, we've been doing extensive work throughout the year. We want to do a little bit more. Last year, we replaced 40 square feet of tile. We're looking to replace another 80 square feet of tile. Yeah. And my thought is, to do this prior to painting it and everything, so we don't have white grout stuck to the bottom of our blue pool. And then I talked with Emery today, and he is gonna add a little to this. I don't really know the extent of.
So we had talked, so we're kind of coupling this as one bigger improvement project. We had talked about fixing those other two sections of the deck, possibly replacing them, at some point in the future after we completed the other one. There were some mysteries when we tore up the other one that were a little concerning. They haven't caused any problems. We had a lot more room to work on that other end. I'm very concerned about taking jackhammers and tearing off that north and south ends of those pools as narrow as they are, and without knowing the integrity of the pool wall. And that further end on the east side, that is running under a variance from the state for its lack of deck depth. So if we cause a significant structural issue to that and have to replace it, we either add a 4-foot deal back out into the hot pool, or we lose some of our shallow end of our pool. So that said, those sections of deck still they got a lot of cracks that are chipping apart. They're not good on your feet. There's some tripping hazards. So I reached out to Nash Decor with B&H, who did the deck replacement last year, and we kind of come up with a plan to do some grinding and crack filling and do some patchwork on those to get them a little bit safer, get rid of some of the cracks. So improve that for the patrons without taking that big risk of starting to really tear stuff apart. I think we do the tile, like Carter said, and we do some of these deck repairs. I think that's a good whole complete package as a project. And it's not anything where we're going to remove such a section of the pool that if the weather picks up real bad, we could time out at some point, open the pool and finish the next in the fall. We're not risking our opening date with this project. We start tearing the deck apart, wall falls off, something, we have no pool. Or we spring a big leak. That's probably one of my bigger fears. We don't know what the plumbing's like on both sides of those. There was a lot of pipes and stuff we didn't know that was there when we tore apart the big deck. I think we're going to see the same thing when we do the other ones. And then you're digging down on some narrow parts of the wall, and it's hard saying how well that thing holds up once we start taking dirt out from behind it and everything else. And we do not want to jeopardize the hot pool. Run out of here. So,
You, all of us,
we can hold hands.
Yeah.
That's kind of, what we put together. At the total with the pool, the deck, the tile, we'll do some coping repair, all the grinding. It's $8,137. We have used the grout and the thin set we use is a little bit on this, more on the spendy side. It's manufactured for pool use. It's got an extra resistance for chemicals. It worked really well. It's just, it is more expensive. And that does leave materials for some epoxy concrete patch and caulking, things like that. So some of this will be shared between the special purpose tax, which we have set aside for deck repair, and then some of it will be out of the pool budget. We spent about 57% of the pool budget this year. We'll have a couple months of operating. The share on this, I think it handles it okay. But I think I would really like to see us be able to do this, and like Carter said, not skip it and then do it in 2 years, and then we're scratching up our floor with ladders and we're spilling ground on it.
So budget wise, we think we can make it work. My thought is, let's get it done. Let's get that pool open. We got a lot of swim lessons to go this year.
I make a motion to both go forward with this project.
Have a motion on the table to move forward with fixing the deck and the inside of the pool so it can be painted. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, John.
Thanks, Carter. Okay, we'll move on to the Department of Public Works.
I'll be for dramatic effect. Gentlemen, starting off, so number 20. This is, we've been working on getting the funding to replace these sewers going underneath the river. SLIB, which is State Lands and Investment Boards, that's who will run the funding, the principal forgiveness. For that project, they finally got all the paperwork for the funding back from the AG's office. It's all good. So we just need a formal motion to have Mike and Chuck execute those docs so we can get them sent back to them, and then we'll working on getting that designed and looking at construction probably 2026.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and move forward with the CWSRF loan agreement?
I'd make a motion to move ahead with it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, moving on. So you got these construction plans in front of you. So we had some of these identified in the stamp plan for kind of increase the pedestrian access in the school corridor. We went ahead and started the design. So when we applied for the TAP grant, we have it's a lot better application with some design done. They want to know what you're building. And so looking at that sheet number 2, this kind of gives you an overview of what that project in essence totally consisted of. So you've got the path there from the high school all the way down and ends at the rec center. This end of the project, we looked at doing kind of an asphalt path off of the road. We looked at kind of some creative ideas. That right of way through there is actually very unique in that it's not very far off the edge of the road next to the county property. Didn't have very much room to work with. So it's got to basically go next to the road. So what we're gonna have to do is probably cut the asphalt and do curb and gutter along there. And then that'll lead down. And then once you get to the school, we've got an improved crossing there. If you want to look through the sheets, that has a bulb out. That'll improve kids when they're trying to cross. If there's buses there, they can get out on that bulb out and see and be visible out there before they cross. That also increases the sidewalk and stuff along the school. The part of that project is just improving that operation overall, creating better visibility, allowing people an area to walk in between the school in the buses, because right now the sidewalk is like 3 feet wide, and so you're not very encouraged to walk through there if there's already people there when they're walking on the other side of the road. But it run through this with the district engineer Ralph out of Laramie with YDOT as they're a proprietor of this grant program. He was very excited about this project. It meets a lot of what the grant program is looking for. Safe routes to school, it's connected multiple public facilities. The big, I would say, question mark was how much it was gonna cost. So after we ran everything out, and that includes, fixing half of the street down there by the school, so it meets all the grades and drainage and everything when we improve the sidewalk. We'll come in at about 1.4 and change million bucks for this 2,500 foot path, which was concerning because we were under the impression that the grant program was capped out at $1 million. And we would only be able to get up to $1 million with a 9% match. So that leaves us with, 400 some thousand to come up with. We lucked out this year. They have pulled the cap. It is basically as much as you want to apply for as long as you have the 9% match. So we could potentially get, $1.3 million to get this project done. This letter of intent is due here in a couple of weeks. So I wanted to have that conversation with you so you knew what we would be putting the letter of intent in for. I don't, that figure fluctuates. Next year it could be 800,000. So if we're good in pursuing that TAP grant for this, I would like to just put in for this path at this point. I don't see us getting awarded for both sections that are on this sheet right now. I think if we do the more expensive part now, if the TAP grant amount goes down and we want to apply for this in a year or 2 years for the one over on Pike, we've got a better chance of being in that budget range if they bring the cap back down. It's been like 800,000 in the past, 750. So I think this is our opportunity to get as much funding for this towards the school and get that awarded right now than we may get in the future. So if you guys don't have any problems with that, I'm going to continue just for that portion of this and put the letter of intent in with the state, and then we'll fill out the formal application this fall. And then hopefully if we get awarded, which I feel like we got a pretty good shot, we'll have a contract with YDOT right in January and then start on this 2026. So, this isn't, we'll try to bring costs down as much as we can. Obviously, this is just high level where we're at. So, yeah. Do you have a question, Bob? Oh. You on it? Okay.
Council want to move forward with
You
it?
bet.
Yes.
I'd make a motion to move ahead with pursuing this grant and plan.
Okay, I'm gonna call this phase 1.
Yeah, that's good. I did talk to Sarah Janes at the state because I thought, if they pulled the cap, do we throw in for the whole thing? And I got a response that recommended we break it up in phases so they could award a lower amount.
Okay,
So
are you good with that? You want to amend your motion to phase 1?
Yes, I'd amend it to phase 1.
Okay. I have a motion to move ahead with phase 1 of the TAP grant program of the sidewalk between the schools.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Get your letter of intent.
sweet, thank you. That's exciting. Number 22, we've been working on we've been awarded land and soil conservation grant, More Than Ever Forget Park project. And we're getting ready, Jason with WLC is developing this package, bid package for certain items in the park. Originally, when the grant was put in, we had the amphitheater in there. We had some parking lot prep. We had some design and engineering that was, from when they did stuff in the past. We had the restroom, and we had a little bit of odds and ends in there. Looking at what we have left to do and looking at costs, and I did kind of talk to Stacy and Joe a little bit. I think we're going to we'd like to put in an amendment and back off the amphitheater at this point in time and move that funding into like surfacing the parking lot, moving into the sod, the sidewalks, talking with the state. I think it's something we can do. They're like, yeah, we should be able to, get that amendment through and make it happen. I think things are gonna be pretty expensive. And I would like to get those functional parts of the space completed. And then, you know, here in a couple years, if we run across another grant, let's look at the amphitheater at that point in time. You know, it could be $175,000, $150,000 to get the amphitheater built, whatever it's gonna cost. I think that at this point in time serves us better on those other aspects of the project. So if that's not an issue, me and Jen will get that amendment done. We'll get it in. With the rate that the federal government is moving right now with everything going on, that getting that amendment approved is probably gonna take several weeks. As soon as we get the go ahead on that, we'll continue to move forward from there.
Joe and Stacy don't have a problem?
No, I was very much under the impression that the amphitheater was like this thing we were.
Yeah, that's,
And they're saying, no, it's-
get the other stuff in.
Yeah.
That really matters.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you guys are good with it, I'll confirm with them. And now that the state, it seems like it's okay that we could move that away from there. I think that's funding we're gonna need to move for one. I think it's at this point in time, if project priority wise, it's a little bit better. Yeah.
I have a motion for Emery to go ahead and move forward with the amendment to the grant and do away with the amphitheater at this time.
I would make a motion to move ahead and do away with the amphitheater at this time.
Have a second to that motion?
I'd say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay,
Okay, so this one is that handout that I just passed out to you, number 23. Right there. This was a while ago. Jerry had made a good point about kind of delineating some walking from when you come off of Bridge Street, you take a left, you head down, drawing a blank, the road towards the park to make so people don't walk straight down the parking lot. And so we don't have people crowding that edge so people can walk down that side. But we don't have anything in the original design or proposed at this point in time officially on that side, but where we're getting to the point where we're looking at surfacing, looking at doing some parking lot improvements. I would like to get that delineated, that side of the park delineated in some fashion, and I think this would be the best way. Doing one, when we go to surface it, we have a defined edge that we can surface to. And then that gives us that picture window to work in, whether we're gonna do asphalt path, whether we're gonna do sidewalk. Maybe we do sidewalk and a little bit of grass, put some picnic tables, but it delineates that space. So when we get the opportunity to surface, we have this border to come up to. And all around the restroom area that's listed on there, we'll have some curb and gutter and sidewalk as a part of the grant for the restroom. But that big run right there, we don't have any project funding in a grant that's working on that. But I think we will do all the dirt work on it like we did on the last curb, and the way everything's set up is we can catch the water, and we'll probably put some sidewalk chases in, and then we'll run some out both ends. It's probably what we'll do, but we'll field fit everything. I don't think there's we don't need to do design on everything, and we can do it with a laser. So running off of what we paid Eagle Construction last year, I'm guessing we're gonna come in right around like 27 to get what's done on that. If you guys don't have a problem with pursuing it, I'll get some hard numbers, but I don't wanna call a bunch of contractors if it was something like this we don't wanna do. I think we just get a curb in right there. That gives us something to pave up to. We can either do sidewalk on the back. I've seen organizations do asphalt on the back of the curb. But that curb gives us parking delineation and gives us walking delineation. And I was thinking originally we would do a fence along there instead of the curb. I think people are gonna hit it. And then dealing with the water from the parking lot with the fence and not having a curb is, every time it rains, you'll have water shedding across there. In the winter, it'll freeze on a path. So if you're good with us doing the dirt work, and then I'll pursue a little bit harder figure and try to get somebody lined up to do that. I feel real good.
they have money left over, correct? Yeah. And the Never Forget Park Fund, so. I would take a motion to go ahead and move forward with putting curb and guttering in over towards basically on the south side of the parking lot.
West.
Never Forget Park, southwest side.
I'll make a motion to move forward.
You have a second to that?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I mean, we're just plugging away at, up on the hill. We've got a, lead and copper meeting here in the near future. We'll have some stuff we gotta figure out with the state on getting some of these lead and copper stuff verified. I think there's some funding that'll be available to us. The whole thing is very gray still. So that'll be kind of one of the bigger things coming up. We'll have this West Bench project. We'll have preliminary plans like that here probably. I'll hand them out next meeting or week after. You guys can look over those and get a few things you want on camera yet before we finish those up. Those are kind of the big things. I've talked a lot. Do you guys have any questions?
You want to move on with planning and zoning?
Yes.
So you can talk some more.
So we did the first reading of Title 17 at the last meeting. I haven't had anybody bring anything up with it with me. You guys have been your constituents, voice any concerns or anything with it. If not, it could be appropriate if you guys would like, we could do a second reading.
I would say let's do a second reading.
Yep.
Jen, you want to read it by title, please?
Town of Saratoga ordinance number 25-880, an ordinance to amend the Town of Saratoga Town Code Title 17 subdivisions. An ordinance amending and clarifying the process of subdividing land or altering existing subdivisions with the municipal boundaries of the Town of Saratoga, as well as the requirements and processes for the construction of public improvements of said subdivisions, and to provide an effective date.
Okay. Do I have a motion to move forward on the second reading, the approval of ordinance 880? Title 17 subdivision?
I'll make motion.
Have a motion on the table. Any discussion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Ordinance 880 was approved on a second reading.
Perfect, thank you. I'll be quick on 25. We, like I said, we had that meeting with Wild Signs. They did get some material back to us. That was pretty cool. So we've got a couple of entryway designs that we're going to discuss with the planning commission at their next meeting next week. And then we'll kind of see their feedback and we'll get some stuff over to you guys. But I think you're going to like what they had to offer. There's some, fish, river rock. I think probably total for 2 gateway signs, what we're looking at right now, 6 wayfinding signs and a handful of pedestrian signs. It's going to be about $50,000. I think we can come up with at least half of that in grant to break it out into phases. I just want to let you know we are working forward through that process, and I think we'll have a pretty good product when we get done.
Maybe with
Are you going to say it?
Discover Wyoming.
That's what I'm gonna say.
With Discover Wyoming and this new proposition here, we may have a lot of grants.
Yeah.
So, good job, Emery.
What is if we have trees coming into town, what is that? I'm just saying.
Thanks, Emery.
The water sewer joint powers.
We got a meeting next week and we've been talking about water tank is kind of where we're in conversation points a bit.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, we'll move on to Recreation Commission.
We haven't had a meeting, so I don't have anything to add. We won't have our next meeting until next Monday, the 8th, here at the town hall at 5:30. Excuse me, at 6 o'clock on the 7th.
Okay. We do have an ordinance to pass or to read on its second reading to approve ordinance 881.
Ordinance 881, a revision of ordinance number 2.24.020, an ordinance of the Town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming, revising chapter 2.24.020 of the Town of Saratoga Municipal Code, regulating the composition of the Recreation Commission.
This is basically moving from 7 board members to 5 board members. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance 881 on its second reading?
I'll make the motion to approve the second reading.
Got a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. If nothing else under the recreation board, we'll move on to the airport board. You look at the handout, they received a quote, they want to do some landscaping up there. You want to add to any of this? We got pictures. Okay. Thanks, Steve Ron. Sorry to put you on the spot.
I wasn't exact numbers of something, but we did go to,
You wanna-
Arlen did a whole lot of work on this.
Yeah.
And this is a company or outfit out of Rock Springs. We did go local. And just based on this bid versus the local bid that we received, for instance, the local bid for a flagpole was $7,500. And this one, I believe, was $2,500. So it's reasonable. These guys have also done all kinds of landscaping at airports around the state. And I mean, Rock Springs is pretty local. You're gonna get this type of work for the airport functionality. Emery, I think you saw the pictures.
Yeah.
It looks really pretty good. And Thad York and we're going to donate the big moss rocks. Not all of them, but he has a fair amount. I think it's gonna look really good. And there's a new entry. I don't think that's in this. It's a different outfit, but a new entry to Shively Field. And Lindy Gloat is also coming to the next airport board meeting. Talk about the monument. I think the Gloat family is donating to Shively Field. Staying in a monument and a base, and it's gonna look really good. But this is another part of the airport that needs to be complete. Besides the lift station, it's the landscape and just the entryway, because again, this is becoming the face of, Saratoga, the airport. A lot of traffic is increasing and we're seeing a lot more people come in through the airport.
And that's gonna be alongside the highway where they're putting in the
Yep.
lift line.
Right when we just did that whole project with the fence from the east side of the
From the fence to the highway.
highway. Mhm.
Are they looking at any kind of a path down
That
people to walk?
No, that's gonna be more YDOT and grants, and you looked at earlier, like I think it was from
That's where the whole study actually started,
Yeah.
was a path from up there.
which I still think would be great if we could come up with something like that, because you see people walking along that highway.
Yeah,
Down the airport, but this is just purely landscaping in front, the fence line to the highway.
yeah.
And it's underneath 50,000, which I think is what you have to put it out to bid and everything like that. So that's why Arlen was asking the question. We didn't have to put it out to bid, but I don't remember the numbers.
75,000. Yeah.
So
Anything to do with contract for public improvements.
Yeah.
Is up to 75.
and these guys would be willing to come in May and it'd be done before summer hits.
Any questions? Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve this quote from M&M, correct? Construction out of Rock Springs.
I'd make the motion to go ahead and approve this bid.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
I'll take it to the board. Thank you.
I'll reach out to Arlen in the morning. He sent me an email.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I replied back to everybody. Oh,
Thank you.
okay, all right. Their next meeting, the airport board's next meeting is April 14th, 2025 at 3:30 PM here. Nothing from South Central Emergency Medical Services. Their next meeting is April 21st, 2025 at 6 PM at the Riverside Town Hall. Okay, is there any new business to be brought before this town? Any further business? Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make the motion to adjourn this meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.